All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another exciting episode of Two Men in Black and White. You know what? I may have been born in the Boogie Down Bronx and raised just outside New York City in the beautiful Hudson River Valley, little town called Peekskill. But DC, the nation's capital, is where I underwent a renaissance, a rebirth, an awakening of who I was both culturally and as an African American man. And it is so close to my heart. I often refer to DC as my home. So let's get right into it. When the big orange tub of goo says he wants to take control of Chocolate City, it's offensive to me. And it's offensive to everyone I know, including all my Howard alumni. All right, joining us now for the conversation, Brock and Ellis joins us live from the beautiful Hudson River Valley, just outside New York City. Brock, my group chat of my Howard University alumni buzzing today about this news conference with the orange mango Mussolini talking about taking control of the nation's capital. You know, where were the National Guard on January 6th, right? But now on August 11th, you want to bring them in to take control of the nation's capital because you want to try to characterize it as something that it's not. You know, I get so annoyed at the way he characterizes urban areas around this country. It is absolutely disgusting. It's right in line, it's right on brand with his white supremacist agenda, but it really pisses me off. And when is the rest of America going to wake up and decide, you know, once he gets you in his crosshairs, then it's going to be your turn? Because it doesn't really matter, you know, who is the object, you know, of his annoyance on any particular day. Just all depends on which side of the bed he wakes up on.
Well, he'll have little skirmishes on social media with just about anybody. But when it comes to actually, you know, putting a policy in place that has a tangible negative impact, it's black and brown people that are going to be the targets, right? The National
Mm,
Guard went to LA, right? Targeting the Latinos that were upset on the ICE deportations.
right.
When he talks about the cities, he uses coded language, right? About how they're, you know, a disgrace and the like, just like he's, you know, low IQ is his coded language for, you know, black politicians or, you know, prominent black people will call low IQ. So there's
Right.
certainly a major racial element to this, right? The mayor's black, and you know he's going right at the heart of it and blaming crime,
Right.
even though you know, but it's all predicated on a lie because actually the crime
Right.
statistics are down. Like it's like the caravans, right? It's a false crisis.
The caravans that never made it here.
But Project 2025 basically, well, yeah, of course, Project 2025 warned us that there was going to be this type of activity and this type of, you know, in essence, domestic military. So he's broken the law, he's broken those norms that no one cares about. It's another act of racism. This is just an overt, propagandized, hyped up effort to see whether he can get away with using the armed forces against the American people.
Right.
And are we going to let him?
Well, that's the question. That's the question. You know, I can remember back to our days at Howard University, 1988. The author of The Southern Strategy, Lee Atwater, wanted to be a board member at Howard University. We didn't let him. We didn't let him. Shut the place down. Took over the administration building. DC police came in. Jesse Jackson came in to be a liaison between the administration and the student leadership. Raz Baraka was one of the influential players. The mayor of Newark right now was one of the influential players in us keeping Lee Atwater, the author of the Southern Strategy, off the board of trustees at Howard University. So, you know, he's already taken up Black Lives Matter Plaza. right? We were forced to give that up. They're making all kind of changes to the Black Smithsonian, and taking exhibits out, right? Trying to diminish the African American uh, experience and the African American contributions to this country, right? And so I don't understand. Again, I'm well aware that white America is not invested in in the advancement of colored people, but as a society, we are all better when we're one together, right? And we've seen that. We saw it with George Floyd, right? We saw it when major corporations wanted to embrace adversity for the moment, right? Until Trump came around and said, no, 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 can't do that. But, at the same time, look what Howard University has given us, besides Kamala, besides Thurgood Marshall, besides all the talented and influential people in our culture. HBCUs are some of the most important learning institutions in this country right now, as we speak. Howard University Hospital probably has just as many white students as it does black students, right? And our dental school, the Howard University School of Dentistry, right? People don't even know those things exist, but they create opportunities for those who may not be able to go to other schools, and that was their
Yeah.
intended purpose, right? Because
I didn't know they existed. B, I had no idea that there were any white students at the Howard University doctoral program. So
oh yeah,
new,
for
new,
med
new,
school,
in-
absolutely.
new information for the white guy today. So just to show, like I'm in that camp of guys who have no fucking idea about those things. I just thought, look, this is bullshit. We know Trump is doing the overreach. We know he's playing the authoritarianism. We know he's seeing what he can get away with. We know it bothers him that, like, he now, quote, lives in a city that's run by a black woman, right?
Yes.
It's not a fluke that the two cities the National Guard have been sent to have been both run by black women, right?
Yeah.
Two for two. Okay.
Right.
Little trend emerging, right? He hasn't,
Right.
he hasn't, branched out from that, but he might and probably will over time if no one steps in and stops him. Like the American people, like I see protests on the streets in D.C., right? Meaning I see the footage. So people are out there on the streets, they're riled up. How riled up are they going to get? How aggressive is the pushback going to be? I'm curious. My take today, my first thought this morning when I woke up is like I got out to tweet and go, when are the National Guardsmen going to start refusing the orders? Like, at what point are these armed forces going to stop accepting illegal orders or ones that just are immoral or outside of what they signed up for? Yeah, I know there might be blowback for them, but you know what? Yeah, there's going to be blowback for people. If there's no blowback, we're just going to get fucking rolled over. Like, so
Right.
yeah. Like, we're going to have to stir up some trouble. So are National Guardsmen going to stir up trouble? I see these DEA yahoos walking around the National Mall, puffed up in their jackets while people are out for a morning jog. It looks fucking ridiculous.
It looks insane.
Right?
Looks
It's a thing
insane.
that they're out there. But Trump's going to push the envelope because he's a madman and a fucking maniac and a baby and a lunatic and a psychopath and a moron, right? All in this one
Right.
crazy bundle. So, are the students of Howard going to hit the streets? I know they're all going to be worried that they're going to get fucking beat down and shot if they do, but now they have the army sitting right in their fucking right in their backyard. I don't know. A lot of people have a lot of decisions to make. How mad are they?
Right, right. And remember now, DC is one of those cities that has undergone tremendous gentrification. But you still have the Howard University area, you still have large pockets of African American populations, and around the metro DC area, you have large populations of African Americans. So,
But Mark, let me ask: isn't Howard University near like not so much Georgetown, but like what part of town is the school in? I remember walking by it. Where?
yeah, it's considered Northwest DC, but that's, Northwest is probably the biggest of the four quadrants. When you look at Southwest and Southeast and Northeast, But in Northwest, you have everything from, Howard University Hospital going all the way up toward Georgetown, and going toward Chevy Chase, Maryland, and going out towards College Park, Maryland. So you pass Catholic University over there.
Yeah,
You
yeah, and
pass,
near the water. You get near the water over there,
yeah,
right?
there's
Yeah,
a
that's
lake
where I've
over
been.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it used to be a St. Elizabeth's over there, a mental health institution, and we had football drills that we call St. E's, and so it's a large area. That's one of the wealthiest areas of the city, and so Georgetown is included in that portion of the city. So when you get over to Howard University and you start asking, see, I didn't learn about the real, you know, the intricacies of the civil rights movement until I got to Howard, and then I started realizing about all the protests that took place at Howard. That SNCC, had numerous activities on Howard University's campus. Muhammad Ali came to Howard University's campus to speak after he refused induction into the U.S. Army. So there were so many pivotal players. When I was at Howard University, we still had professors that were there during the civil rights movement during the late 60s, early 70s. So we got it firsthand, and learned some of those lessons from them firsthand. So this is nothing new to Howard University, right? And I know that we will not stand idly by and wait to see what Mango Mussolini does, and wait and see how he tries to impose his white supremacist agenda on our beloved institution. I'm
Yeah,
telling you,
where are the troops and what are they doing? Right, I get in L.A. Right, they were protecting ICE, I guess, right? Like, so they had a mission anyway, even though it was an illegal one. But like, at least they maybe had a place to go. But I mean, Trump's ranting about like getting rid of quote homeless people. Like, are the National Guard rounding up homeless people and then what? Just driving them to concentration camps, or is it just black? Is it just
right?
black people? Like, is this
It's
just
just black folks.
it's just black folks, right? I mean,
Yes.
is the National Guard up around where the campuses are? Are they on the Georgetown campus?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
They're not going to be anywhere near Georgetown. Do you know what people pay to
Yeah,
live?
I was gonna say 50 grand a year. That the prep school kid from Andover who's down at Georgetown,
Woo!
family's not gonna be happy if
Not
if
at all.
armed forces are getting in the way
Right.
of his getting to class.
And plus, you have all those restaurants over there. That's where all,
Yeah,
Georgetown is
yeah.
where the elite in D.C. meet to eat and live. And, very high value property. Ivanka and Jared had a property there. So, you know, you're not going to be fooling around with white folk money, right? They're not going to go over there and terrorize Georgetown, right? They're going to come straight to the black neighborhoods, the places that they perceive have issues. The murder rate is down 30%.
Yeah,
Carjacking's down
already. Yeah, yeah.
50%. Yeah, again, it's all born on a lie, right? And a lot of that has to do with the gentrification. We've got white folks walking through Howard University's campus like they own the joint, and we had an issue, I believe it was 2 years ago, where there was a white man walking his dog through Howard University's campus, letting his dog relieve himself on the campus and then not cleaning up after it, and then telling the students he shouldn't have to. And he was here first. So
Oh,
it's all along racial lines.
oh, okay.
So now what they've done is they've made the price of rent so high near Howard University's campus, right? African American students, can't even afford to double and triple up there and afford the rent. So they have to go to other places further away from campus if you don't get on campus housing. And so it makes it even more difficult. And the gentrification continues. So, this may be another even more sinister, plot to get more of DC's area given back or turned over to white American control. Because remember, this all started when they added a metro train stop right at the corner by Howard University Hospital and Georgia Avenue. So at the corner of Florida and Georgia Avenue, they put a metro train stop there, which opened up everything. So now if you work downtown DC, you can hop on the metro and be there in 5 minutes. So now this makes it an appealing area for you to live.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's bad about that? Okay.
Right.
So-
Right. And so much building has gone on, in the 35 years since I've been gone, and the gentrification continues. So when he says he wants to take over control, I think crime is, the ruse, right?
Yeah, it's always the ruse. It's been the ruse since Willie Horton. It's been the ruse like as long as we've been alive. It's been the ruse, right? And caravans has been the immigration ruse, right?
Right. The boogeyman. You need a boogeyman.
Okay, so all right, so Trump wants federal control. He wants to, in essence, get rid of the mayor of D.C. and have it be a federally owned property, certainly not a state, right? So this is certainly an anti-D.C. statehood movement, pushes that even further away. Although you'd argue when Democrats take control again, perhaps, hopefully, they should go for D.C. statehood and take this fucking issue off the table ever again. It's always been sort of a fucking joke. They have more people in D.C. than Rhode Island and half those fucking western states I just drove through, right? But they basically have no representation.
Right. It's terrible. It makes no sense at all in America that there are people living here that have no representation.
Yeah, it's like Puerto Rico. What the fuck is that?
Right.
It's absurd.
Right. But we can go. But he'll come down and throw paper towels to us. If we should have a bad storm.
But this is an authoritarian move today, an overt one, a even more unprovoked one, right? Because even in LA, you could make up a better story, right?
Right.
Because if you can justify ICE, which we think is bullshit, but okay, you justify ICE, then you get some protests against ICE. You argue the National Guard has to come in to protect ICE to allow them to do their job. Right. DC, you're just making shit up out of thin air. You're not protecting anything. Nothing's going on. People are just living their lives. Crime's down. Life is going on like any other city, town, fucking neighborhood in America. And you're deciding the troops have to come in, and they fucking should not go. I'm hey National Guardsmen. You didn't sign up to fucking intimidate your fellow citizens.
Your neighbors. Your neighbors. I mean, think about it, Brock. I mean, these guys signed up for a couple of weekends, a month, a year, to get the extra pay and just in case they're needed. They didn't sign up, to terrorize the families that live next to them that don't happen to look like them. I mean, it is just patently absurd. And remember, this is all another attempt to wag the dog, right? Look away from the Epstein files, take your eye off the shiny stuff. When we had a federal judge come out today and say, you know what, we're not releasing the grand jury files. Why? Because they're already public record. And this is only an attempt by the DOJ to create an illusion of transparency. A federal judge said that.
Yeah.
A federal judge said that. So you tried to pull the wool over our eyes. You tried to play us for dumb. Again, you moved to release the grand jury transcript. We already know what's in the grand jury transcripts, and it's Maxwell and Epstein. We want everything else, fella. And stop pretending like we're idiots. I mean, that's what Trump thinks we are.
Well, here's the other topic that I didn't fucking understand in a bit today. So somehow we weren't going to sell AI chips to China because they're our big superpower competitor, and we need to out-technology them, and we need to win the future with AI. But somehow now we're going to allow NVIDIA and AMD to sell AI chips to China.
Sure.
But the government is going to take 15% of the revenues. The government, God knows what cut Trump's taking from that, so there's no doubt there's corruption in this. But even if they're, but if not, it's just dollars coming into it's in essence government-owned business. Hey, Russia, right? That's oligarchy, right? So now the government has a piece of the business or is in business with an NVIDIA and AMD, and now that money is going to come into the coffers so it can be redeployed to hire more ICE agents so we can become more of a military state like China, right? So the whole thing's so fucked up, but is it enough to push enough buttons to get enough people out there on the streets, or are we still comfortably watching?
No, because people don't, number one, people don't realize how important AI is. AI right now is like Bitcoin in 2013, right? Like if you missed it in 2013, you missed it, right? You didn't get in on it on the, $20,000 coin. Now it's at 100,000. You can't even get a coin, right? Now, with AI and the government getting 15%, remember what the whole objective of this regime is. It's to enrich themselves, mainly one person, right? So when have we ever in history had any type of arrangement where the government breaks off a percentage? Like, how does that work? How is that
even capitalism anymore? How is that capitalism anymore?
Right. I mean, it sounds like a socialist program.
Yeah, it's a federal bribe. It's a bribe to the federal government to allow them to allow the companies to do something that the government was against, right? And campaigned against, right? China was the boogeyman. China, we need all these tariffs on China because they're catching up to us. China's taking advantage of us. So now we're selling them the AI technology. That sounds very capitalist. That sounds like China's a partner of ours, a trading partner. We're sending them the most important. We used to be worried about them stealing our intellectual property, right? They're stealing all our stuff, right? Mark Cuban's running around. China's stealing all our IP, right? You can't trust China, blah, blah. But now we're selling them the highest powered chips out there so they can develop their AI industry to compete against us in the open market. But the government's taking their slice on the side, and who really knows where that money ends up, right? We don't fucking know. We don't know because now we're going to fire anyone who would say anything, right? Labor statistics person says something that Trump doesn't like, they're fired. So it's crony capitalism. It's very much like Russia 1980s. Their version of capitalism. It's total oligarchy. I mean, Bernie's got it, right? But we're watching. And I'm just fucking pissed the companies are playing along. That's
what amazes me, is that they're playing along. I'm shocked.
I get it. NVIDIA's going to be more, it's a big market. They're going to sell a whole bunch of chips to China. The CEO of NVIDIA is going to get richer. But no one cares about America. That's what bothers me. Right. No one is looking out for America.
At all.
I'm sure they've convinced themselves that if they do better, they'll hire more people and everyone will get wealthier and it'll be good. But it's good for such a small percentage of people, like so many other things.
Yep. And Brock, did we really expect to win the future with Donald Trump at the helm? With any of these morons out in front, with J.D. Vance out in front? I mean, we're going to give more of America away later this week when Putin comes to town, to his Alaska. I saw a tweet yesterday where a guy was talking about how they learned in their Russian history courses in the 90s that Alaska had been leased to America for 100 years and it's still Russian property. So basically Trump is getting humiliated by coming to Alaska or Russian territory to negotiate more land from Ukraine for Russia. I mean, and we'll never have a record of any of those meetings until Putin decides to give us one.
And who the fuck are we to give away Ukraine land?
Exactly. Exactly.
Like as if it's ours to give. Like we're like like a deck of cards. Like we actually have, Eastern Ukraine, Odessa, like and we're just like flipping the cards on the table. It's not
Right.
fucking ours to give. It's a sovereign nation. Okay, we're gonna stop giving them military weapons. That in the end, we're gonna try to make them lose the war if they don't agree
Right.
with what we want. We're gonna strong arm them into it. We'll see if Europe goes for that. I don't think Ukraine's
Well,
going for it.
Europe,
The whole premise of the meeting is a fucking fraud,
it's a
right? It's a
farce.
fucking joke.
Yes, it's a joke. And look at Europe. Europe was pissed. They
Of
gave it
course.
to they gave JD Vance the business because Donald Trump sent his boy Winkoff over there, the envoy to Russia, who has no diplomatic experience. Guy's a real estate guy, goes over there, totally gives Putin everything he wants, and then says, "Oh, I must have gotten the translation wrong." Dude, you have no diplomacy experience,
Yeah.
right?
I
And,
mean,
and they all think they think they're so fucking smart.
I
And
know.
they're not. And that's the thing that pisses me off. We put these clowns in these positions like, oh, it's so oh, it's diplomacy. You make a couple of phone calls. How hard could it be? You're literally, you're about to start a fucking world war. The European nations have all come together and said, what the hell did this guy Winkoff promise to Putin? Because Putin's telling
Yeah.
us you're giving him everything under the sun.
Yeah.
Our next
And who
born
the
child.
and it's who the fuck is that guy? And this is why
Right.
America's in decline because no one can trust us. And no one, not only can no one trust us, they can't trust our motives, right? So they don't even trust what's behind what we're doing. And they certainly can't trust that we can execute even our shitty motives, right? Because the people we're throwing out there there's an incompetence tied in with our corruption as a nation, and then our, you know, our backward motives, like our love of autocracy, right? So it's backward and it's incompetent. So yeah, it's going to be a joke. I mean, the only thing I laugh at is Lisa Murkowski looks like a fucking idiot, right? Because they're coming right to her town after she buckled and pretended like she was too afraid to do fucking anything when she had a little bit of a chance to stand up to Trump, and she buckled over, and now like she's getting steamrolled, and fucking Putin will be sitting like fucking in Alaska, and like he owns
Right.
the place.
Right. And here's the thing too, Brock. Two quick points. Let's not forget the death of expertise, right? That when we talk about American ignorance, it starts with the death of expertise, right? We don't want doctors and experts and scientists and mathematicians and those people who actually know what the fuck they're doing to weigh in on anything anymore, right? It's all about a gut feeling. I got a gut feeling. It's going to be like nothing anybody's ever seen before. So many people are talking. I mean, the guy has bullshitted his way through one presidency, and now he's doing it again. And basically committing crimes in broad daylight for us all to watch, and nobody's doing a goddamn thing about it. And then the second thing is, we've got two criminals. Vladimir Putin, I thought, couldn't go to foreign countries because of the arrest warrants out for him from the United Nations as a war criminal, right? We already know there's a long list of countries that the Trumpster can't go to. So, I mean, what the hell do we expect when two criminals get together, to plot, the demise of Ukraine and its sovereignty?
Yeah, and the threat to the rest of Europe that comes with it.
Exactly. Because what's going to stop him? What's going to stop him from moving, further down the map? What's going to stop him from going into Poland and those other neighboring countries? Absolutely nothing, because that's what he wants to do. That's what he's always wanted to do. That's why he didn't want Hillary in power.
Yeah.
Because Hillary understood the Putin dynamic and exactly what he wanted to accomplish.
Yeah, 30 years he's been talking about this.
Oh, no doubt.
Maybe longer.
No doubt. And Trump has never heard about this. This is all new to Trump.
He doesn't know.
He's just finding out about this shit. And the people who knew about it, they got rid of them all for Trump 2.0. So there are no guardrails anymore. There are no adults in the room. Laura Loomer is practically running the Defense
Yeah,
Department.
and Rubio's a wimp. Rubio just wants the job, so he'll
Right,
roll over on anything. I mean, he made it
right,
beginning of his career as a hawk against Russia. Like that was
right,
one of his calling cards as a politician. It's what he was running, part of what he was running for president on. Totally
right.
rolled over, as if that person didn't never existed. Person that
Yep.
had those beliefs never existed.
It's a shame, man. And you look at this once great country, and yeah, it can be better. Yeah, it hasn't lived up to all its promises, but I don't know if there's any place else I'd rather live. I'm just saying. I mean, we had so much here to offer the world, and one D minus fucking student is destroying it all.
Fucking train wreck. It's a fucking
It
train
really
wreck.
is.
So I'm angered every morning, man. Now I mean, we're getting at boiling point time. I'm really interested to see how aggressive DC gets about having troops on their streets.
Right, right,
And I mean, I almost like fucking dare Trump to send troops to New York City.
right, right.
And
No,
I want to have a big protest in DC and let him call in. Let's have martial law, because this is basically martial law right now.
right.
So we're there, right? If he's calling up the National Guard to go into D.C. for some bullshit reason he made up 48 hours ago, but Project 2025 has been talking about probably for 5 years, waiting for this moment. And now they got the idiot Trump will say anything because he's a pathological liar. You just have to tell him there's a bunch of black people and crime, and he'll
Right.
go chase after it, right? So they know how to push his buttons and point him in the right direction,
Oh, no doubt.
in their direction, meaning the right direction
Right.
for them. So that's martial law, right? I mean, it's U.S. troops being deployed against U.S. citizens. So we're there,
Yep.
right? It's the second time. It's not a fluke anymore. Like this is what the government is doing. How many cities do they have to deploy in before we as citizens go fuck this? And how many times do the troops have to show up and not lay down? Like if just these 1,000 guardsmen like said no, we're not fucking going, or walked and ceremonially laid down their weapons and walked away, it would be seismic to the country. It might be the end of Trump. It might
Yes.
start the beginning of the end.
Yep. Yep.
Like if 10 of them did it and had a press conference and made it a huge thing,
if any of
it
these
would
principal-
become a national debate.
if any of these principled military leaders stood up to him and said, "Absolutely not, we're not doing this," that would be, the match in the tinderbox that sets this shit off.
Yeah.
You know? Well, good stuff, bro. Let's keep an eye on DC. Let's keep an eye on these military leaders because we're still looking for leadership. We're still looking for messaging from the Democrats, which I'm not hopeful for. Since we started this turd hunt, we haven't seen much except for the same names: Jasmine Crockett, AOC, Bernie.
And Bernie. Look, Connecticut.
Yeah,
I mean, look, Gavin Newsom's been making a lot of noise. Hochul's been
Gavin,
Pritzker's been really aggressive. Kathy Hochul's been
Pritzker's
really
stepping
aggressive.
up.
So three governors have
Yeah.
done a good job there. I got
Nice.
two quick hits for you. Number one, two
Hit it.
quick hits for you. Number one, Canadian flights to the U.S. in July down 24%. They're now predicting. They're now predicting that tourism in the U.S. in 2025 is likely to be down. I've seen it range from 12 to 21 billion dollars, mostly
Wow.
from Canada. 25% of tourists come from Canada. They drive in. Detroit's already feeling it. Seattle, like the drivable cities. Canadians are just doing a big FU. They're not selling our liquor, and they're not coming to the U.S., and it's crushing tourism.
Yep.
Number one. That's number one. Number two. Did you watch the Netflix video on SEC football?
Not yet. I've seen it, but I've got to see it.
I mean,
I've
you've seen
seen
it on
the
there,
promo.
right? You've seen
Yeah.
it on there. Okay.
Yeah.
I powered through it. So I just got a quick question for you as you go into watching it, because I might have missed it. But
Okay.
can you just point out to me which college has the black coaches?
Oh, Yeah, let me get that for you. None.
Fucking none. It went from team to team to team to team. By the way, more and more of the quarterbacks are black, and like absolutely not a single black head coach on any of the teams that were featured. And I think they featured every team in the
Yeah,
SEC. I think
yeah.
every team got touched on. So I think the number is the number zero because I'm just
Exactly
watching the
zero.
show. And I might not have noticed this shit if we weren't doing this podcast. But
Right.
now I'm a little more woke because I'm having a conversation every day, hopefully an honest conversation every day with a black man, black friend. And I'm noticing going through each team, not as they're all the same. All old white guys look like me, and I'm like, holy shit.
Brock, college football is no better than the NFL. I played, I played for the first Division 1A college football coach, Willie Jeffries.
First black coach?
First black head coach at a major institution was Willie Jeffries. I played for him at Howard. This is our lifetime, bro. So I was 20 when I got to Howard. I
But
was 20 when I got to Howard, and he had already coached at Wichita State.
But okay, this is gonna run a little long. We probably end up editing this out. But okay, so there's been progress in America in our lifetime, the 50 or so years in our lifetime.
Sure.
But when it comes to fucking football, particularly, right? There's at the coaching levels, like that line still doesn't seem to get brought. Notre Dame has a black coach now, right? But I mean, the SEC,
Right.
the South in particular, right? None in the entire SEC, right? There's 16 teams in that league, right?
Right.
And it's got to be, come on, it's 2/3 of the players black. I mean, something like that, right?
Oh,
50%. I mean,
look at the states that they're in.
I have to say, the teams are pretty mixed. There's more black guys, but like there's white guys in the teams as well, right? And the players
Yeah.
are integrating and intermingling and hopefully becoming friends for life, right? Hopefully. That's what we hope for all of them. That the experience of being in locker rooms and being teammates is changing them as people and helping progress this country and race relations going forward. We hope all that's happening. But the management level, the trustees, the money behind the schools, they will not trust a black person in that job, right?
No, you go up to University of Georgia, you might see some black folks on campus when you drive around. You might. Because they got 50,000 students up there. A tiny percentage is African American. And a large percentage of that are athletes. So, I mean, people are getting turned away from the University of Georgia with 4.0s. So they have a very stringent scale for admission. And, for a long time in Georgia, we had the Hope Scholarship here, which meant you could go tuition free for as long as you kept the B average. Now they've changed it. And so many people applied. So you had to be really on your P's and Q's, and your grades had to be extra tight to get in, get that Hope Scholarship, and go to University of Georgia. University of Georgia, Georgia Tech, two of the strongest alumni networks I've ever seen in a city, right? If you graduated from one of those schools here in Atlanta, you're always going to be working. You're always going to have a
You're
job.
hooked up.
Yeah, the alumni take care of each other. But, at the same time, you're not seeing, a whole lot of African American, admissions throughout the Southeast Conference. Throughout the conference. Look at the states we're in, bro. Okay, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, right? Louisiana, Texas. Right?
Tennessee,
Missouri,
Tennessee, South Carolina, South Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, come on, bro. What do we expect? What do we expect?
Yeah, I just watched this show. From a football point of view, it was really a good watch and interesting.
Right.
Um,
But college
Right.
football has never done well in that regard for black head coaches. I mean, there was a time we could count, 3, 4, 5 head coaches in all of Division One. 105 ball teams. Now we look at the Power Five. we can still probably count them on one hand.
Yeah,
I
Notre
mean,
Dame,
I think there may have
Michigan.
been 16 last year,
Hmm.
you know, but in the big picture, I mean, think about it. And then I used to have this argument with my friends all the time that I played with at Howard. If you're going to get into coaching, don't do it on the HBC level because you'll never get off. I called it the Chitlin circuit.
You can't
They
make the
won't.
move, right? You can't
You
make the
can't make the
transition.
move, right? And why is that? How did Eddie Robinson do so well? How did Eddie Robinson put so many guys in the NFL? How did Jackson State put so many guys in the NFL? How did Air McNair, one of the most dynamic quarterbacks we've ever seen in the NFL, come from Alcorn State? Right? We've had some of the GOATs have come from Walter Payton,
Walter
Jerry
Payton.
Rice, right? Jackie Slater, some of the GOATs, the GOATs. And I mean, look, if football is football, it's 11 guys, right? On both sides of the ball. No matter what conference you're playing in, either you can coach or you can't, right? But when you don't have the hookup,
Yeah, you got to
right?
be an assistant. You have to work through the chain. There's a lot of steps it takes to become a head coach. You got to work from being a position coach to then, hopefully you make your way to a more important position coach to a coordinator,
And
head
and you
coach.
know what else helps? You know what else helps? If your dad
Oh yeah,
had one of those
there's so
positions
much
already.
nepotism in it. Yeah,
The nepotism, the nepo babies in college
football is
football,
huge. Yeah, you see it all
football,
over.
period.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro.
All right.
Don't get me riled up.
All right, Mark. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, my
Okay.
friend. Talk to you
Talk to you
soon.
tomorrow. Bye.
Peace.